Hey guys, it's Ryan. Hope everyone's doing well today. It is a beautiful Wednesday. Perfect. And today we're going to be talking about masterminding. We're going to be talking about how to create a mastermind, how to run an effective mastermind, especially if you're in the sales or really any general area you want to improve upon. We're going to be talking about this, and it's very, very important, something that I've been using consistently for the last 5-10 years. And I've seen enormous strides. And I was actually just looking at a statistical journal that if you looked at all the statistics, right, if you join an effective mastermind group, this can help you increase your output by 78%. You know, profitability, revenue, whatever you're trying to get into, an effective mastermind is one kind of structure, one kind of strategy you want to start implementing and layering in your overall kind of routine. So this is something that I use. I have several different masterminds, and some of them are not always called like, you know, I'm joining this mastermind. Sometimes it's like a group, a club, a meeting, you know, different things like that. But we're going to kind of break it down for you today. I'm hoping to get through this in one shot because I hate editing, to be honest. So, and I only do it like 1% of the time if it's really bad. But we'll try to get through this, you know, unedited and everything. So we're going to talk about how you can achieve more, how the types of masterminds there are, how to effectively run a mastermind, and then I'm going to give you guys some examples of masterminds that I do, some suggestions, and other ones that you can join as well to optimize your life, okay? So, first off, what is a mastermind? What is like the importance of a mastermind? So the mastermind is a group of like-minded people coming together. There has to be harmony, there has to be synergy, but it's like the sum is better than its parts alone. So really, it's like when you come together, all these like-minded minds, the energy is actually bigger than if you were by yourself, okay? And it creates what's called a mastermind. It's a different energy. It's a different, actually, brainwave that's happening. If you study psychodynamics and you were to put, I was able to put you up to like certain like energy kind of mechanisms and to like see that, your brain actually changes when you're in this group mentality. So there's a lot of masterminds that happen that maybe you just don't even are aware of. So for example, hanging out with just your friends, family, a fitness group, church, it's a big one, right? There's all these different ones that actually happen on a routine basis. Now, your income, and this also studies show, your income and your personality will be the average of your 5 best friends 5 years from now, as well as the books you read. Okay, so this is very, very important. So you want to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people that ideally are better than you in a certain area or are on the same track. Okay, if they're on the same track, that's really good too. It's kind of funny because I had my wedding last year, and all my groomsmen, when people kind of saw them and kind of met them, you know, not everybody knew each other, and you kind of met them, and my family met them, and like my wife's family met them, they were all like, oh, these guys are kind of all you in a different like kind of way. They've all led different lives, but we've been on similar paths, and we all make similar income, and we all have similar types of fun personality. At least I think I do, but that was kind of the thing where all these people over time, we've led similar lives, and these were the people I associated with. Okay, so you can use this to your advantage in a lot of different ways. Okay, so let's talk about some types of masterminds that I would recommend. So there's a lot of masterminds online. I saw like an ad the other day for like, join the Montana mastermind. I'm not even in Montana, but I saw this ad, and it was all about business and getting together and having a retreat. That's really good too. I would focus on a few key areas, okay? So you do want to have a local mastermind. I would say having a local, specialized, general, and then we'll talk about the other one that's kind of a bonus one that a lot of other successful people use that you might not know about. So the first one, local. You want to make sure that you have a local mastermind. Remember, your income is going to be the average of your 5 best friends. So you want to have a group of people that you associate with naturally. You get together once in a while, ideally once a month, more is even better. But these are people that have what you want, who have been where you are, that you can associate with and learn and observe from, okay? If you're in the sales world, I know this channel talks to a lot of different salespeople, right? This is really important for finding a local mastermind, but also the sales team that you join as part of a company, okay? Ideally, you're not the best one joining it. It's actually like people who are doing very well and you're joining their team. Your rate of getting to that level is going to be so much more faster than if you were doing it alone. Okay, so very, very significant. So there's a local mastermind. There's this specialized mastermind. Whatever industry you're in, you will also want to make sure that you have a mastermind that's specialized. Now you can do this over a group call. You can do this in person. I would always recommend that you associate with people who are in your industry that are a little bit ahead of you in your career path. Okay, learning from them, trying to be around them. The other thing is too, if you're in a certain industry, I would recommend going to one conference at least once a year that's in the industry you're doing. So if you're in like real estate, right, you go to a real estate conference. If you're in sales, you go to a sales conference. If you're in tech, you go to a tech conference. Do your research on what's the best one for you. But getting around like-minded people, and by the way, I've done this where I've noticed that after I go to these conferences, the month afterward is like usually some of my best month in sales or whatever I'm trying to generate. Very, very, very significant. It's worth it. And also when you go to these conferences, it is a tax write-off for business purposes, so you can do that too. I always recommend that, and then you still get the points on your credit card and you can use that for vacation. So, something to consider. The third one, so we got local, specialized, and then general. General is one that's kind of like I would say just overall self-improvement. You want to get better at relationships, health, finance, wealth creation, business creation. Just kind of a general mastermind that's just everybody's on the same track to be getting a little bit better, right? Continuous improvement. How to kind of get to the next version of yourself, the best version of yourself. So, I would recommend some of those bigger ones that are out there, and there's so many different ones. There's no right or wrong. Do the one that resonates with you. I wouldn't recommend joining ones that are like, there's ones I've seen online that are like, 50 grand or 100 grand a month, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Do some research on ones that you can learn from, people who have what you want, who have been where you are, people that, it kind of forms that like a little bit of a brotherhood or sorority or, something that has that common club atmosphere. And there's several different ones, okay? The bonus one. If you've ever read Think and Grow Rich, he talks about how he created his mental council, okay? In his mind, for like 30 minutes a month, he would create his own mental mastermind, okay, his mental council. If you read it in the book, it says it right there how to do it. I've heard many successful people who have done it. If you read The Way of the SEAL by Mark Divine, who is an ex-Navy SEAL commander, he used to do this. So you can actually create your own mental mastermind and kind of like use the steps in Think and Grow Rich to also create whatever. If you're doing sales, think of successful salespeople in your industry or just in sales in general, people you want to emulate, and create that mastermind in your mind, and you do that kind of during meditation for like an hour a month, I would recommend, okay? Some other step that you can optimize. So, again, we talked about local, specialized, general, and then kind of the mental. All right, you always want to be looking at areas you can optimize. It could be your fitness, your sales. If there's an area that you do a self-assessment, okay, like I'm really good in this area, but I'm a little weak in this area. I had a friend, she makes amazing money, to be honest, in the recruiting industry. And her fitness wasn't really it wasn't where she wanted to be. So my recommendation to her was to join a fitness group where everybody's a little bit better than you, okay? Be with a mastermind group of people that are positive, healthy, kind of optimizing their life cycle, maybe biohacking. I'm into the biohacking thing, right? And she started doing that, and you could see like all of a sudden her rate of improvement was like super easily. It's a lot easier to do it, especially when there's an accountability in the mastermind, okay? So if you want to be better, be around better people. Same thing with sales. If you want to be an effective salesperson, I would be like training yourself in whatever product you're doing, sales techniques, reading books, but then masterminding is another component. All right, so let's talk about how to run an effective mastermind group. For example, Tuesday, I joined my sales mastermind group through higher levels. Last night I had my self-improvement mastermind group. Tonight I have my dad's mastermind group. But let's talk about how to run an effective mastermind group. This is the one that I do once a month for kind of self-improvement specifically. We had about 12, 15 members on there. And we usually keep it between 60 to 90 minutes. So number one, we have a schedule. I usually, you pick out a schedule. Once or twice a month or every week. You want to do it at least once a month, okay? 30 minutes minimum. Ideally, for me, I usually do 60 to 90 minutes. That's kind of like the ideal stage. Usually because we just talk, we have fun anyway, so 90 minutes is kind of the sweet spot. But you want to set a schedule. Have it be consistent. Don't like do a mastermind group and then like, all right, we'll meet when we meet. No, like try to keep it like, hey, let's do it the second Tuesday of every month, or let's do it at the end of the month, at the beginning of the month, or like let's do it every 2 weeks. Have a schedule. You also want to make sure you have a structure. Okay, you have a structure to these components. It's okay if you have a set structure and then the next round you're like, you know what, I don't think this really worked. Do you guys all want to do this, or should we just keep it, let's simplify it to this area? Sure. So the structure can change, but have a structure going into it. All right. How many people should you have on the mastermind? There's no really like hard and fast rules. I've heard different opinions. I've heard the ideal amount is 7, including yourself, 7 people, lucky number 7. But really there's no hard and fast rules. More than one, it can't be just yourself. Has to be at least 2. And then, it could be any number, right? But to be manageable, I would try to keep it so it's people that everybody can interact during the mastermind section. If you have it too big, then it becomes really like a seminar. So you want to make sure where everybody contributes and everybody feels like a part of the group. Okay, there has to be synergy. That's a big thing too, and a big component where you can't have people that are super like at odds, right? If there's drama within the mastermind. If you read Think and Grow Rich or Law of Success in 16 Lessons, they hey, if there's drama, that person's got to go because it's not creating harmony and synergy within the group. Okay, usually when you invite people into your business mastermind, they can't be on opposing sides or competitors that are right next to each other. If they're competitors in different regions, who cares? Then they're okay. But if it's people that are really at odds or bad blood, it's not going to work as much. So usually when I start off my mastermind stuff, we first give a little introduction, welcome any new members, and then also give recognition. Recognition is a very powerful component. People can bring forth, hey, talk about your wins. Talk about your wins with us, personal or professional. We'd love to hear about your wins, anything. Everybody gets some recognition for their accomplishments. I mean, how many people actually get recognition? When you get recognition for your birthday and your wedding, it's kind of it, and your graduation. But how often do you get recognition? So it's good to give recognition to people. It's good for you, it's good for them. Okay? I always try to make sure that everybody brings, volunteers for a topic. So for example, in self-improvement, we have one person present about a book. We had another person present about a certain topic that we're all learning right now. I talked about things that I was learning over the last month, right? So usually you can have people, does anybody want to volunteer to bring a subject that's kind of relevant to the group on what you're studying? And it could be, if you're doing sales, for example, it could be a sales technique that they're going to showcase to everybody. It could be a book that they read. It could be a new methodology or a new tool. But you have a few people volunteer to give a presentation. This is really good because you're going in there learning something new. You're also, if you're doing presentation, public speaking, I think, is one of those other things that you should, consistently work on. It's really, really good. It's going to add value in all different areas. So volunteering to do the research, you learn it yourself, and then teaching it to others, very, very powerful and beneficial. So again, have a schedule, have a structure, have some people give presentations on a topic that's relevant to the group. You have volunteers doing this. It's kind of like Toastmasters in a lot of ways. Okay? Next thing, at the end, and then the next part, we do Q&A. Does anybody have any questions? Or does anybody have anything they want some feedback on that they're working on? Okay, if somebody has, say it's in sales, for example, somebody has hey, I just joined this company, can you guys listen to my pitch and give me some constructive feedback? Sure, happy to. Or I'm facing this problem, facing this challenge. I would love to get your opinions on this, okay? Or if they just have a different Q&A, hey, Marty, I have a question about this thing. What do you think? Right? It's a general Q&A and feedback, that segment, okay? The next segment is basically accountability, volunteering. It's kind of the same thing where we're looking at, hey, over the next month, let's have a little bit of homework and accountability on like, what we want as a group as a goal. Have a goal, okay? Have a goal like, hey, all of us are gonna try to read this article that just came out. I think it's really, really cool. Or how about all of us, we're gonna try to increase our sales by 5%. Let's try to keep accountable, and we're gonna have prizes for everybody who did it, like a little bit of wins type of style. Those are always really fun. And then at the end, you obviously talk about the next call and any type of homework. So that's usually the general structure. Again, you talk about, you have a schedule, you have structure, you talk about your wins and you have some recognition, you have volunteers and you do some presentations. You then have some like Q&A, constructive criticism. You then talk about kind of the next event, and maybe if the group wants to have a homework assignment or anything like that they're working on in between the time. That's kind of what I do with my masterminds. And then obviously we just have some downtime. It's really good to just hey, for the last 20 minutes, it's just general conversation. Just having some fun with it. That's one example. There are many, many, many examples out there. Just make sure, somebody's texting me from work. There are many, many examples that you can use. And then I guess I would leave you with some examples of masterminds that I would recommend that I'm doing. So I have several ones. Obviously I've talked about higher levels before. I've partnered with them. I think they do an amazing job as a boot camp and a network, and we have people getting jobs every other day basically. I always hear another testimonial. And that is also a type of mastermind. They have 4 weekly calls with people that are account executives, with people that are SDRs. And if you're trying to get into that industry in tech sales, you want to learn from people who are above you in the career. Okay, a little bit further down the pack. Definitely check out in the description below. You can use my referral link. You get 10% off and you get a free one-on-one with me. You can use it as a mock interview. I think it's very beneficial to helping you nail the job, as well as just in sales in general. So something to consider. Second thing, there's a mastermind group called the Global Information Network. I've been a member for 10 plus years now. I've learned a lot of stuff from them, and I have friends all over the world, friends in Japan, just like Europe, and I go to conferences with them once or twice a year. Great mastermind because they have stuff locally, they have stuff virtually, they also have the big conferences where you can meet other people and you learn a lot of stuff. You can check out the link below. They are having a little bit of a drive right now. So if you want to join, let me know first. If I submit your application, you actually get a personal coach. And then this way they assign you to me. If you want me to be your personal coach, we would jump on a call once in a while, and it's all about self-improvement. And I would be the person kind of helping you with that if you want. So that's on the table as well. The other ones are just kind of creating your own. If you change yourself, you change the people around you. Okay, so you can kind of create your own mastermind that way. Another ones that I would do is I created my own meetup group. Okay. I created my own meetup group for people in the biohacking area. And it's completely free, by the way, to host meetups. And I started doing hey, every Thursday morning at 7 a.m., I'm going to the river, if anybody wants to join me. And then I've started getting more and more people that are into health and fitness, and a lot of great friendships from that. And so that's another example. So you could do this in the areas of fitness. You can do this in the areas of finance, right? You can kind of create your own through that. But don't forget, there is a little bit of a secret technique where it's you can do the mental counsel too. If you're in Antarctica and you got nobody around you, you can still do it in your mind. The power of the mind, if you look at Olympic athletes, I was just reading actually the other day, Michael Phelps, the Olympics are going on right now. He used to visualize in his head winning every single time. And if you look at kind of other Olympic athletes, the body fires off actually muscles and biochemistry in their mind when they're running the event in their mind, or if they're doing stuff in their mind that is associated with their event, say gymnastics, the same muscles fire off. The brain doesn't know the difference between reality and imagination. So use that to your advantage. You can do that. Anyway, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about anything. If you have, if you want to check out some of those masterminds that I mentioned, check out in the description below if you want me to be your personal coach. Or if you want to check out, higher levels for tech sales specifically, check out those links below, okay? All right, guys, have a good one. Cheers.